You've seen the movies, you've seen the TV shows, but what is it really like to be a private investigator? Today, I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm going to be talking about everything from what I actually do all day, the challenges of running a PI business, and those touchy, secret topics that no one else really wants to talk about. Now, I have been a private investigator since 2008. In that time, I've handled everything from corporate fraud cases to tracking down missing people across the country. And trust me, the real work is a far cry from the trench coats, the fedoras, and the fancy sports cars depicted in the movies. Being a PI today is more complex, way more challenging, and honestly, a lot more interesting. I always get asked, what does a typical day really look like for me? The honest to God answer, there's no such thing as a typical day. The only thing that stays the same really is the early morning starts. Most days I'm up before the sun, not because I love mornings, but because the job demands it. A typical day as a PI is a weird mix of intense boredom, then sudden adrenaline rushes. It's part office work, part field work, and there is a lot of sanity maintenance that goes on too. A typical day for me might start off in the office where I'll spend a good deal of time glued to my computer screen, reviewing emails and messages, reviewing current cases in progress, and planning my day out accordingly. This is, to say the least, the not so glamorous part of being a PI. I spend a lot of time sitting at my desk doing tasks like answering phone calls, writing contracts, sending invoices, doing bookkeeping long before I ever start the investigative work. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. When I do start work on the investigation side of the business, there is still a lot more time sitting at my desk. Yep, I may have reports to read, discovery to review, and usually a lot of desk investigation time to put in. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret about me. You see, I found myself in a tough situation regarding my PI business about 10 years ago. I was chasing every lead I got, taking every case that came across my desk, and writing every contract that I could. No doubt about it, I was busy. Man, was I ever busy. But then the reality kicked in. I realized I was doing the same thing in my very own business that I had always done when I worked for corporate America. And in doing this, doing the staying busy, doing the making all the money I could, I was also neglecting a lot of things too. I was neglecting my family because I was always too busy to spend time with them. I was chasing the dream, you know, the American dream, and I was doing it at the cost of my own sanity and at the cost of why I started my own business for myself in the first place. You see, I am a father of 5 and a grandfather of 5. Now, back in 2008, I realized that chasing the American dream kept me further from my own dreams than I really wanted to be. So I started my PI business because, yes, it sounded intriguing, and yes, because it sounded exciting, and so I could get out of the rat race once and for all. But my old brain let me get right back into the rat race, and I knew I needed to do something about that. So I scaled my PI business, but not the way most people would think. By scaling my business down, I actually scaled my business up. By focusing on premium work, I was able to work less and make more. And I am proud to say I am no longer chasing all of those small jobs that just kept me busy. Now I have a good mix of family, work, and personal time in my life. I spend time with the grandkids almost every day, and I am on staff as a volunteer at our church. And of course, I get to do one of the things I enjoy the most, and that is run this YouTube channel. Now, besides all of the personal life lessons I have learned along this journey, I have also learned a lot about being a PI too. I am always getting asked about surveillance. Is it exciting? Is it difficult? Is it dangerous? Yes, it is exciting at times, and yes, it is difficult at times, and yes, it is dangerous at times. But truth be known, most of the time spent on surveillance is boring, flat out boring, sitting for hours waiting for something to happen. Then when something does happen, the adrenaline kicks into overdrive. The excitement soon hits its peak, and then after a few minutes, it all goes back to boring. Yes, there are a lot of times you have to follow your subject, get video of them doing things they should ought to not be doing, and this does get exciting and slightly dangerous too. But the real danger is usually just the danger of getting burned while you're out on surveillance and having the subject of your investigation confront you. And those confrontations usually look more like them flipping you the bird or taking photos of you, or more commonly, just a nice wave, then they go inside and then you never see them again. And the flip side of the surveillance work in the field is the desk work in the office. Yep, you will spend time preparing for your case, reading over past reports, notes from the client, doing some basic research on the subject, prepping your equipment, writing reports, and editing video. Did you notice in there I mentioned doing some basic research on the subject? Yep, every case you get isn't going to require a full-blown 8 to 20 hour OSINT investigation. In fact, most cases you will get, especially when it comes to surveillance jobs, will allow for little to no paid case prep time. But you still need to do it, right? You need to know who you're surveilling, right? Where you're going, what they look like, what they drive, and all of that jazz. That is another downside to doing a lot of surveillance, especially if it is injury-related surveillance work. Insurance companies don't pay for the fluff work, as they call it. They pay for time on surveillance and maybe, just maybe, some travel time and mileage. And if you are real lucky, maybe, just maybe, some report writing and video editing time. Now, once I realized this, then I started looking at all of the time I spent working on cases that I never got paid for. And I never got paid for it because, well, it was just the norm. That was what was expected, if you will. So when I started branching out on my own, I quickly learned that working what I call premium cases, working with private clients, be it individuals or companies, I was able to capture all of that time and get paid for it, which really increased my overall hourly pay. You see, if you work basic insurance cases and if you make $85 an hour, that sounds like really good pay, doesn't it? But you usually will get paid only for your time on surveillance, let's say 8 hours. They don't pay for case prep time, for travel time, for mileage, for report time, for video editing time, and all of that fun work. So your 8 hours of field work for the day nets you $680. Not too shabby, especially if you do this 5 days a week, right? But if you calculate in, let's say, 2 hours of drive time, 1 hour each way, driving 50 miles, and 2 hours of video editing and report writing time, and 1 hour of case prep time, well, then your daily income would be roughly $1,140. And using those hourly numbers that go into a case, which are a good average if you're going to be honest with yourself, then your real hourly rate is about $52 an hour. And this also means you are losing out on $450 a day, and that times 5 days a week equals a chunk of change you lose, to be sure. Now, I'm not saying you need to quit doing the work you're doing right now, but it may be time for you to start looking at ways you can diversify and scale your business the right way. You see, when I was able to bill all of my time because I made that shift to premium clients, I was able to actually work half of the time and make the same amount of money. And that is what allowed me to prioritize things right for myself. God first, family second, myself third, and the rest just fell into place. Now, when I shifted to this new business model, that did change my workflow. It changed what my most common tasks are. Now, my major priorities while at work are focused on marketing and sales. And that is another challenge that occurred after making such a dynamic shift in my PI business. Before, I had 1 or 2 major clients who fed me all of the work I could ever want, but with pay limitations. When I shifted to my current business model, I had to go find the clients, or better said, find ways for the clients to find me. And that took a lot of research, a lot of on-the-job training, and a lot of lessons learned by errors made on my part. And some of those lessons learned hurt. I mean, they really hurt. I spent a lot of money, time, and stress on a lot of things that just plain didn't work. One of the most painful things was that I still had to work my regular caseload while building my new business model. Yep, I had a mortgage to pay, utility bills to pay, and a family to feed, so I still needed a regular income. So that meant I was working double time, multitasking, and that all put me on the brink of total burnout. But in a long time, it paid off in dividends, and now I have a much more relaxed work schedule. Today, I do a lot of background checks, locate investigations, OSINT or open source intelligence investigations, and a lot of TSCM or technical surveillance countermeasure sweeps. Background checks are pretty easy to do for the most part, but I don't just do basic backgrounds, I do more comprehensive backgrounds. I know a lot of PIs just run a comprehensive report on their subject on one of those super secret PI databases, then throw their name on the top of the report and give it to the client. Not only is that not a comprehensive background, in fact, it's not comprehensive in any way, shape, or form, it's also against the end user license agreement for all database companies. Let's face the facts here. Those comp reports get you little to nothing more than what the client can get by running a comp report on one of dozens of websites online that they can have access to. All of the info on those super secret PI databases is, after all, public data, just packaged in a nice, neat report format. But it hasn't been vetted, it hasn't been fact-checked, it hasn't been verified. It is just a compilation of data that may or may not be right. Let me put it this way. Running a comp report is a lot like asking AI to write you a factual story. Some of it may be right, some of it may be wrong, and some of it may be hallucinations from the AI or the database. I was just working a case where the comp reports, 3 of them from 3 totally different database companies, listed the subject's wife as his mother, and listed his mother and father as siblings, and listed some of his siblings as his children. Yep, true story. And I caught this because I was vetting and verifying the data. First thing I noticed were the birth dates. Second, I knew his wife's name. She was my client. I don't know why or how this happens, but it made a huge difference in the accuracy of the data. I would venture a guess that somewhere along the line, a form or an application got filled in wrong or incorrectly input into some system, and then it just bled over. Not only was the familial data wrong, but the assets were wrong. It showed him owning his parents' house and other weird things. Had I just given this to the client, well, how happy would she have been since she knows all of these people? Or worse, how much trouble could it cause if the client was to pursue the assets reported in a claim against the subject that are not correct? This is where OSINT comes into play. All of my backgrounds consist of some level of OSINT, open source intelligence investigations. 1, to find information the reports can't provide, and 2, to verify the data in the reports. And OSINT is not just a Google query. It takes a lot of training, a lot of practice, and requires a lot of resources to be accessed to find all of the facts. And again, truth be known, you may never truly know all of the facts. My OSINT investigations always start off as assuming I will be spending 10 to 20 hours of work on each investigation. Anyone can Google things, click on links, and cut and paste what they find, but a real OSINT investigation goes way beyond that. This is where I focus on those premium cases. Yes, I get calls when the client wants to spend $100 and get everything. I then educate them on what that $100 will really get them, and I tell them what they will get if they hire me and what it will cost. Many simply do not have or want to spend that kind of money. So they say thank you. They end up talking to some other PI that is happy to take their money and give them a pre-made database report. And you know what? Many of them call me back and tell me what happened and then hire me to do the real work.